afternoon, beautiful beings of light. Welcome to the Crone Zone Conversations with the Ancients. My name's Priscilla. This is my friend Heather, and today Valerie is joining us. Yippee! To talk about the new moon and the summer solstice. So,
Whew, it's a lot.
excitement.
Yeah. Thank you for
Lots to
having me.
go. Oh, we're thrilled to have you. You know
I
that.
love
We love you to come over.
I
Come
love
play with
being
us. Hi,
sorry.
Dance Free. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi, Jans Free. Thank you for having me. Really, it is this is it. Like this is kind of the time we've been waiting for. We got through the equinox and those couple of full moons and new moons, right? And here we are building up to the summer solstice.
Hi,
Um,
AD.
Hi, Dee.
It's a new moon, not a full moon.
Exactly. So new moon
Dance
is
free.
when we have the sun and the moon are together. So they're together in Gemini, or they were last night, or they still are. They're not that far away. Well, the moon's a little further, but it was 26 degrees opposing. Okay, so the opposite of Gemini is Sagittarius, and Sagittarius 26, 27 degrees technically is where the galactic center sits. And that's where all of that divine consciousness. It's just how
Right.
all these attractors in space, how the energy flows in to all of the um, galaxies, right?
Right.
And then all the way down to our solar system, to our sun, deposits energy in there. I mean, it's just everywhere. It's the divine, so it's in
Right.
everything, everywhere. Um, but then when you have a new moon right before a solstice, a point in time and space on planet Earth that is significant, and that means when I say significant, it's the longest day of the year, meaning it has the most sun. So that energy, those I see the sun as like delivering packets of downloads to us constantly, right? So we're at this heightened part of the year
Hmm.
coming building up to the solstice.
Right.
This new moon 26 degrees, right? So on Wednesday is the solstice where it will be 0 degree Cancer. So we're 26 degree, we're 27 degree today, Gemini. So those later degrees are they normally, under normal circumstances, culminate a lot of energy and a lot of information. But we're in Gemini, which is the mind, everything that we do with the mind, all the information, everything. So if I don't know if anyone else has felt it or if you feel it, your mind is just going. Like you can't learn enough or you can't do enough or there's so many things to do, right? So at these end
Yeah.
degrees of Gemini, it's going to bring in just even more information. And I keep saying divine information because of that galactic center. Not that in most cases it is all divine, but this is telling us here we are. And that's just one of the galactic center. We have that Shapley attractor involved too,
Right.
where the Scorpio South Node is. So that is so at the same time these divine new, I mean things, it's all new energies, like how we're going to go forward as a collective.
Right.
Okay, first though we go inside and we have to process what it is we need to know, right? And it gets throughout the collective. But all that stuff that doesn't serve us any longer has to go out through that, or will, in this case, go out through that Shapley attractor on the Scorpio South Node.
Right.
So that, get, that gets us to there. But we have, I mean, the chart is just beautiful. It's showing us we're receiving new information because we're in Gemini across from the galactic center, where Juno is right next to that. Okay, so we have
Right.
the sun, the moon, and Juno. We're all together on this point. Last night, I think it was at 12 last night.
Right.
Now, Juno is usually known as the goddess of marriage partnerships. But if we take it further into it, it's more commitment. Like, are you committing? What are you committing to
Right.
yourself to go forward in these new energies? What are we creating together? Eventually, because we are always constantly creating and releasing.
Hmm.
Um, it's that is just that part of it. Let me get that chart real quick. Okay.
Sure. I'll say hi to Starfish,
Hi, sis.
Dancery, AD, Esther G, Tracy Ralph. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to today's show, all about solstice and new moon. We appreciate you being here today. Yep.
Yeah, I love everybody bringing
Oh,
in
I
their
have a
energy.
question.
Sure.
Let me see. The new moon in Gemini. And what does Neptune have to do with that new moon in Gemini?
Well, Neptune has a lot to do with this chart. Okay,
Okay.
so right now
Hey,
Neptune is
warrior
at
girl.
27 degrees.
Okay.
That's exactly where the galactic center is. But Neptune, okay, is in Pisces. The galactic center is 27 degrees in Sagittarius. So it is forming a square, a,
Eek.
a challenge, but it's good. We need these squares because it helps us release all these dense, stuck beliefs, especially
Right.
in the way our systems are run, the way the world is run. And that's going to be there till the end of 2025 like that. That square is going to stay like that. He's going to move, of course, but he moves really slow,
Eek.
and he's going to change signs to Gemini in 2025. But it's still, that's only a 3-degree orb. So he's even still after 2025, that influence is going to be there with the galactic center.
Okay.
That's why I brought it up. It's not only is it affecting this new moon, and it's affected the last full moon, and will affect the next full moon. But then the cycles come and go. But
Hmm.
there's something that divine is bringing into us all to go forward with, to create this new world that we all know. We can feel it here, right? Because
Hmm.
we're at the precipice of a new age,
Yeah.
and we're the front runners. We're the ones who are to help guide everybody up into that higher vibration. And it's hard to stabilize there, but we have each other to
Hmm.
keep pointing it out
Thank
to us.
God.
Yeah. So that square is helping. Let me go back to when Neptune went into Pisces was 2011, and around that time, I mean, the world was always a little bizarre. People were, but it wasn't so obvious the division we have now, like we do now, because when Neptune came into Taurus, it Taurus is everything that's alive on earth, how we manifest, how we create,
Okay.
physically create things, right? So it came into people's awareness. And if you notice, if you guys think in the chat, when you started, like, your awareness turned on, your psychic abilities were, you were remembering and things were turning on, right? Was about that time, really, you know, full force. More, you knew by then that there's something going on here,
Hmm.
right? So,
Because 2012 was really pivotal. It may have
right.
started in 2011, but 2012 was pivotal for a lot of people.
Right. And a lot of people, there's a lot of theories that that's when the actual age of Aquarius started.
Yes, we moved into Age of Aquarius.
And I like that theory, but I can't say for a fact I want to believe it. But,
Yeah,
but
I want to believe it, but
we can see something's going on. We
mhm.
can feel it. Um, and we see those who, and there's no judgment against anybody, who can't connect to their hearts and face themselves and do the work of the dark night of the soul. And
Yeah,
they seem to us like they're insane. Like, there's just, they don't want to help anybody. They want you to just I don't know. We could get into all those details, but it's just showing the division. Neptune came in like that, and at 27 degrees, it's gone on and on and on, and he's really showing it. We can pretty much be in around somebody and understand just by feeling their energy if it resonates with us or not.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they won't sometime in soon, hopefully, raise up in vibration, but at the moment they're not. So that showed us that. But it also turned on all our psychic abilities and our intuitive abilities and our skills and the alternative healing.
Hmm.
Everything that's, I mean, it had been going on, but it really opened that door. Um, Neptune, where am I? So Neptune's going to be in that square with Sagittarius galactic center, the galactic center. So it's at the same time it's bringing in that higher divine information. It's clearing out that lower. Through that, again, that's right now that Scorpio at 2 degrees at the Shapley attractor. Now that is going to not be the case in 2025, but
Okay, I
you
have
got
a question about that Shopley Shapely attractor or whatever
mhm,
that's in Scorpio right now. What
mhm.
happened? Where's the Shapely attractor once in July when the nodes change? How's that going to affect the
Well,
relationship between Shapley and
it's
Scorpio?
still going to be there, I would say, because we're going to have Aries North Node, Libra South Node, right? And it's going to start. The nodes go backwards. They're the only ones that do. So it starts at 29 and ticks down to zero
Okay.
instead of starting at zero and ticking up to 29. So it'll it'll still be an orb until I want to go out as far as January, where a lot of things are going to change in January. And this is the information we're receiving now on how to go forward. And we're going to get that information as we go by, time goes by, because it trickles in, right?
Right.
And it trickles in kind of slow. But this last couple months is showing me, because of these attractors and the galactic centers, that something very important is being delivered to us
Well,
all.
that and the five planetary alignments, the one in
Yeah,
March and the one now, the one on the 17th. That all fits in somewhere, doesn't it?
of course, yeah, because it's these things that you go, wow, what does that mean? Now, I honestly, I know which planets it was, but I haven't had time to go into the alignment. But the when when the universe lines up like that, because that doesn't happen often, where you
Mm-mm.
have that many planets in a row. They're vibing off each other, right? So they're bringing in more specified information that we need from the galactic center and from all in the Shopley, because the Shopley attractors bringing stuff in too. It's
Mhm.
just not removing stuff. So it becomes more refined. And I'll use this as an example in 2019, December 2019, when we had Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter all line up in, oh my goodness, Aquarius? Is it Aquarius?
I don't know.
I don't remember now. No, my mind just went blank. But a few months later, the COVID started. And that was
Right.
significant to a lot of astrologers, that specific lineup that hadn't happened. I think it was 600 years. That it
Yeah,
wasn't
it
like
seems
that.
like there was
It was
another
Capricorn.
pandemic. Say that again?
It was Capricorn. Because
Okay.
Pluto
Wasn't
just
that the same thing that happened during the Black Death or something?
yeah,
It was one of those huge pandemics that had happened before, I
yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about tracking the astrology and these major alignments, because we can look back. Oh, when is the last time this happened? Although the last plague. Well, isn't that interesting that we have
Mm.
a plague? So okay, so why? What was the? I'm I think about it like that. Like, okay, so why? What does plagues do? It's just wiping out people. It's making people sick. But it is on a soul level. We've contracted to where we all are right now, and that sounds cold. And I don't mean to sound cold, but that's how I view it. It doesn't mean it's 100% correct. But
Right.
if on a soul level, we did contract to do these things to help each other, because as a souls, we're all one. We're all coming here to ascend and help each
Mhm.
other ascend, right? So we understand it on that level more than
So
we.
even those that are here that you don't feel like are ascending, you have to remember that's in their soul contract to be whatever it is they are
And
and
it
whatever is
doesn't mean
happening at
they
that time.
right. And,
They're right where
and
they're supposed to
They're
be.
right where they're supposed to be because we
yeah,
all have these soul contracts, every
yes.
one of us.
And that's the that is so important to understand, because I'm a very deep feeling person, and I was just destroyed by this world most of my life, the pain and suffering that went on and things like that. And that really helped me to understand, okay, it doesn't feel good whether I know either way, but I can at least wrap my head around it on some level in my human body and say, okay, we're all doing our part to help each other lift up in vibration. And those that haven't chose this right now, that's their soul contract, and they will, though. It's just not this time, or
Hmm.
maybe it's later on during this thing. You know, um, that I don't know, and I can't really figure that out. But those alignments are significant, and that one yesterday was Pisces and Taurus energies. So you think about that. Pisces is the divine, the divine rules it all, but that's the higher mind, the higher consciousness. And Taurus is how do I make manifest that on earth?
Right. Hmm.
So it's pretty cool. And I try to keep it just basic, because we could be here for days if we just went into everything. But it's it's and each astrologer will have maybe a little bit different take on it, but if you just go with the overall general energies of each planet, that's how I'm reading it. So
Right. Makes
um
sense.
and we had Orion's belt. One of the stars there was influencing the sun and moon and Juno last night. That was I can't say the word safe, S
Spell
A
it.
Saiph.
Safe.
Scythe.
Safe.
So, and he's one of the stars that or in the Orion's belt, and was
Right.
okay. Also, so all that energy coming from the galactic center flowing down to us, right? It's
Hmm.
hitting all those uh, constellations and clusters in the Milky Way, and
Hmm.
that comes in by the central sun and our the great central sun, the central sun, our sun. So and this is what brings me to the solstice is we honored this time of year. Humanity has honored this time of year. Okay, in our hemisphere it's the summer solstice. In the southern hemisphere it's the winter solstice,
Right.
because it's less daylight, it's getting colder. We're growing in daylight, and we're the sun, all these, Stonehenge and all of these different societies had always had different ways of honoring that. Go back to
Right.
Egypt and the sun god Ra, because the sun, without it, we wouldn't have food, we wouldn't have anything. So it is a time of honor to the sun. Um, I know you had another other questions. If you
There were three of them. I wanted to know what Juno had to do with the new moon, Pluto had to do with the new moon, and Saturn.
okay,
Those were the three. Because doesn't Saturn go back in retrograde today?
he just went retrograde yesterday before well no, today's the 17th. I'm all mixed up.
Today's the 18th, isn't it?
18th. Okay, so he went retrograde yesterday. You see where I
Yep, we're 18th.
okay. So he went retrograde right around or within pretty close proximity to that new moon, right? So he's in Pisces and he's come into, I see it like this. Saturn in Pisces, Saturn rules responsibility and structure, and how do we how do we arrange things and make things work, on any level.
Right.
And in Pisces, you know, a lot of astrologers want to say, well, that's his detriment, like he's not happy there. But I don't think that's not how I view it. I view it as, well, Pisces is the divinely guiding Saturn into how do we make these systems work for all, for humanity, for life,
Mhm.
you know? And he'll be there till 2025. So a lot is going to happen.
Boy, a lot's going to happen in 2025, isn't it? Oh,
2025.
whoa.
But I think we're going to see signs of real growth by
Mhm.
then. It may not be perfect, and it probably won't be, but it'll be noticeable that
Moving in the right direction.
yeah, that's what I
That
say.
makes sense.
So he's going to be in there, and every time I say anything a planet is doing for humanity, well, then you drop it down into yourself. So even though my Saturn's in Capricorn, the ruler of Saturn's the ruler, or Capricorn's the ruler of Saturn, and very strict and rigid and the old ways, but mine's in retrograde, so I never really did well with all that structure
Right.
and stuff. So but it still is going to affect me and you, all of us, on
Mhm.
how do we create that life that we all know is here for us, because we're raising in vibration with, I mean, just imagine how much better our lives would be if the systems were working for with us,
No, isn't that the truth?
so, and that's what my hope is. But
Mine too. Yeah.
and who else? Oh, you said Pluto. Ooh, Pluto.
Yeah, Pluto's always,
It's rough.
Pluto. He just went retrograde back into Capricorn, right? He's been retrograde for a couple weeks, but he actually moved into Capricorn on June 11th. So he's still at 29 degrees, critical degree. I don't really like talking about the degrees, but today they're so important because that galactic center is 27. Um,
so
29.
anything within 27, 28, 29, 30 degrees, or is there a 30 degrees, or does it just go
Zero.
back to one? Zero.
Well,
Zero.
it's
Yeah.
actually
Zero.
0 to
Yeah, you're
29.
right.
So there's 30 degrees, but we use zero.
Right.
Zero is a critical degree too. So we got 0 and 29. So he's just going to be hanging in that line again until probably won't be moving. He'll move back into Aquarius this January, but then next year he will go back into Capricorn
Right.
to 29
So that's
degrees.
all about exposing
Yes,
things that are not in integrity,
yes, yes.
correct?
And that's important, yes, because he equalizes things. He is, especially in Aquarius, Pluto's all about integrity. That's why if you're working your Pluto, no matter what sign he's in, and you're in integrity in your heart, Pluto's Pluto will help you out. Pluto will help lift you up further. If you're not, and we can see a lot of evidence of that out in the world,
Yeah.
it gets exposed. And then in Aquarius, it's really about freedom, humanitarianism, about uh, life and care for all of humanity, not just a few. So with him hanging out there for this long, he we have to see what it is we don't know that's holding back the systems that Saturn was going along with
Hmm.
until we see it all exposed for what it really was there.
Right.
Or, and another thing, this could be showing us uh, evidence of UFOs and ETs, all of this, because the divine is all in this chart, it's somehow. But heavily in Saturn and Pisces,
Right.
heavily with all that galactic center and attractors. Um, who, okay, and we're in the North Node, right? Taurus is where are we going? Where are we going, humanity as a collective? So that's why it's that Scorpio South Node has been helping us release all that won't work in these new systems because they're going to be fairer than they've been. So Taurus is showing us or giving us the ideas. We're getting the information on how to make things work here that work for the collective. You
Right.
know, unity consciousness is the goal in my heart, is what I feel.
Me too.
I
Unity
love it.
consciousness is
I
it.
mean, just think, this point in time, we're all here together. Who would have known this was?
I know, right?
We give ourselves a big hug and a pat on the back because it this, especially this next year and a half. It's coming into, okay. So now the sun's going to bring in all that more energy with the solstice, more information, more packets of downloads, and the things that we don't know we know we need, or don't know we need, you know what I'm saying? So Venus and Mars are both in Leo. Now that hasn't happened quite a while. I don't have the date for that, but it's a rare occurrence for
And Black
Venus,
Moon Lilith is in Leo too, isn't it?
and right on Mars's degree today, and that's going to
Right.
bring up fear, because Black Moon and Lilith are fears, right? Fear of, what if I'm not good enough? What if I'm not prepared? What if, imposter syndrome stuff? It's
Mhm.
really hard, but with Black Moon Lilith, you just got to keep powering through it to get to the other side. Usually your worst fears don't come to fruition.
They rarely do they? Excuse me. They rarely do. It's all in our heads most of the time.
Right. But with and Mars there, right, it's given that, oh, am I sure? That kind of really niggling at you, like,
Hmm.
I don't feel worthy. I'm just, what am I doing? Why am I here? You know, who do I think I am to be sitting here talking about this? Because I'll be honest, it goes through my head, a lot. And I
Goes
have to
through
go,
everybody's head, I think.
and you have to go into your heart repeatedly all day and ground and just talk to higher mother, father, God, and your higher self, and work through it. It's not easy, but the thing though with Venus and Mars being in Leo, okay, so
Hmm.
Leo rules confidence, courageousness. It rules the heart. What do you love? Usually children and pets are in there, and all the things that you really are, that bring you that joy, right? So when you have Venus, the goddess of love, and those are all the detail things you love, like from everything you can think of throughout your day, and who, and your preferences. Let's say on, I'd rather have steak than fish, whatever. All of it
Hmm.
under Leo, and Mars is, I just want to do something. Okay, let's just do it. No, he's been held back most of the year because he was in Gemini for 7 months, which was unusual. But he needed to get information. He
Right.
needed he needed an upgrade because the planets upgrade too, right? They get
Hmm.
this information. And then he went into Cancer, got to process his feelings on what he learned. And it goes in, so everything resonated with his heart to go forward and act. So if you think of it like that, Venus is our divine feminine, Mars is our divine masculine, and they're integrating and making a more balanced, again, we start from the inside before it goes on the outside, but
I
it's
love that.
balancing us. Yeah. So that, but it just
So
happens.
balancing the divine feminine and divine masculine right now. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
In Leo, in Leo, the sign
That loves to
of
shine.
love, but of ultimate love too, right? So
Oh,
yeah, Leo rules the heart. Everything that you feel in your heart is that you love is usually your Leo lights that up for you. Venus
interesting.
also covers all the things you do love, just on a we have a lot of love in these charts. We just don't know it here on Earth because it hasn't really been a love based society. It's had to
We need
grow.
some more trickling down of that love energy.
Exactly. That's exactly what's happening.
So we're getting it in spades for the solstice. So that's
Yes.
as
Yes.
well as this full moon, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And all the other lineups that we've had just before this.
Yeah.
Right. And so you take all that energy and we're moving into the solstice, but we're at those last degrees of Gemini where we're still receiving information. I mean, we never stop, but Gemini information is really it's almost too much at sometimes, when you're in
Mhm.
Gemini season. But then when the sun moves into Cancer, right? The sun again rules Leo, rules the heart. We're going to get into all of the feelings, how we feel about it in Cancer to make it work for our lives now, and
Oh,
how
okay.
we want to go forward with that. Does this feel right? Which I think that's something our community does. We go by how we feel more than we do how we think.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's another point with the uh, Mars and Venus in Leo. It is connecting your mind and your heart. It's getting the mind and ego
That
towards the
balance.
heart. Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, and so the mind is excited. It's not like you have. I don't know if you've ever had that where your mind's constantly fighting you, and it's how you. I guess before you wake up really, you think you got to listen to what's going on in your head without checking your heart. So checking your heart is a big message now,
Mhm.
and it has been. And how do we feel? Because cancer is going to get us through all those feelings. And each degree gives us more and more layers of information on how we feel, just like in Gemini on what we think. So it but it's so fascinating because we came out of spring, everything started to grow, we got our seeds, everything's there's life
Yep.
popping up, and here we are going into the summer where you know you're looking to grow your harvest, to grow something. So that goes for food and thoughts,
Yeah.
changing
Anything.
changing the world. Yes. I'm sorry, I know I'm talking a lot.
No, it's
No,
perfect.
it
It's
helps.
perfect. You're helping us all understand for
You
sure.
clarify as you talk. That's great.
Okay, I have a real quick question because I was reading the solstice energy is a time for initiation, action, and pursuit. So during this season, you'll feel inclined to get things moving, particularly in the Cancer house of your birth chart. Well, my birth chart, it's Cancer is in the third house, along with Uranus and the IC. And I don't know what the IC is. I don't
Okay,
understand.
so the IC is, I can't say it, Enum coli.
Uh huh.
It's at the bottom here. And then
Right.
we have the midheaven up here. We have the ascendant over here and the descendant over here. So,
Oh, I see. So it's like a quarter of the pie
yeah,
away.
across.
Okay.
But the
Okay.
IC is your root chakra. Think of it
Root.
as your
Yeah.
root chakra. It's rooting you down into earth because when we look at a chart, right, the top part, you would think is nighttime, but it's not. It's day. So flip it. This is day, this is night. So down in the root of Mother Earth, where things grow, where seeds grow, or
Mhm.
like birth canal, that type of thing,
Right.
right? So that, um, because the dark does, we plant seeds in the dark. Like last night,
Mhm.
we did, most people here probably did a little intention ceremony, maybe with a candle or something. But so it's in the third house. Your house is Cancer, the third house. And I'm sorry, you said you had Uranus.
And the IC in there.
And what else?
There was something else I thought.
No, Uranus and IC in Cancer in the third house.
Okay, so Uranus, uh, third house is communication, ruled by Gemini,
But
right?
mine's Cancer. It has
Yeah,
Cancer. Okay.
but the third house is always going to be ruled by Gemini. So then I layer on top of that
Right.
Cancer. So we have the attributes of Gemini, of Cancer, and now we have Uranus. So
Mhm.
the way you communicate is, I would just, to sum it up quickly, because Uranus is thinking outside the box, right? The way
Mhm.
you communicate is not a usual communication, that, in a lot of ways. So look what we're talking about today, for example.
I would say that's true.
And you have feeling, you believe it because you feel it, because
Mhm.
it's Cancer there. And your mind and your heart and your feelings are all, um, working together on that. So it really
Interesting.
is your heart. You feel it and believe it. And
Mm.
that's usually what we all do, right? So, but with us going into Cancer on Wednesday, um, what do I want to say about this? I'm sorry if you have any questions, and then I'll go into the
No,
solstice.
I just wondered what that was going to do since we were moving into Cancer. So Cancer would have more influence than
In your
normal,
feelings, yeah.
because
Oh yeah, you're gonna really feel it. You're gonna be, when you really, really have this deep feeling, this deep love, or this deep attraction to
Mhm.
something or someone, and you you become, I don't want to say obsessed, but you become, it's important to you. It's going to, whatever that is, whatever that's coming up for you, is going to be important for you going forward.
Right.
And how you, um, pursue that thing or those things that you have that strong feeling about and want
Right.
to communicate outside of the box, communicate.
I would say pretty much my life is outside the box.
Yeah,
Communication as well.
yeah,
Tracy says Cancer tends to be quieter within, but Uranus is anything goes.
right.
Interesting.
That's yeah.
And AD says your characterizations of planetary influences help to understand the interplay of change and opportunities. Amen.
Thank you.
So helpful.
Thank you. I loved your show yesterday. I was listening to that at 3 o'clock this morning, going, I gotta listen to it again. And so I was listening to it again today. I was like, oh my God, that was such good. I mean, it was just, and it was help, because I'm preparing for all this while I have been.
I
And
was hoping you'd get a chance to watch it so you could explain to us anything we didn't get.
oh no, you guys did a fabulous job. It was, I mean, and it helped me connect dots. It helped me
Cool.
see things too. So, and that's what this information is for.
We're all
It,
learning to connect dots through all this
yeah,
information. All of us that have nothing to do with astrology, just
And
all of
it,
a sudden, it's really important.
it
and it
is.
helps to have different points of view
Yeah, it
to get
really
the
is.
right one.
Absolutely, it helps to have different points of view to connect the dots as well.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you, Tracy. She says we really do have some awesome content on our channel.
you
Thank
do.
you very
We do
much.
try
We
once in a
try.
while.
You really do. No, you put out the content. It's really, it's amazing. And
Hey.
so when we're doing give each other a hug. So when we're doing that, oh, okay, like with astrology, like you just said, it's become really important. I
It
think for
really
both
has.
of us, because people are going to really see the value of it going forward, especially because when we were growing up, they told us that's just
Nonsense.
pseudoscience,
Right.
nonsense.
But the thing is, it's so important to have people like you who have studied it for so long and really understand it. And even if you don't really understand it because there's so much of it,
Right.
you have a much better handle on it than any of
Than
us
us.
do.
You guys, I was telling you, you guys amazed me yesterday. I loved it. And you got that, but that's the thing though. You'll get onto it and okay, there's a perfect example of your Cancer in the third house with Uranus. You like astrology. We do astrology together a lot, but now you're going in and making a show, researching that information, and it's all so many dots. I mean, there's thousands of them to put together, and it really helps us integrate the ascension that we're going through on level.
Because the signs are everywhere.
Right.
Ascension signs are absolutely everywhere. You have to
Exactly.
be blind, dumb, or stupid not to see it. I'm not
Yeah.
sure which, but
That's what I was
even
saying.
this one that doesn't understand anything about astrology, really, the dots are connecting and it's all making sense to me.
Yeah.
So it can make sense to me. It can make sense to most people.
Yeah, and it's lighting a fire in you to understand it more, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's going to spread out throughout the world. I think it really is going to be significant once people can see, because you can see it in this chart. You can see what we're doing and evolving, and all of the uh, just from the last 3 years. You don't even have to go back further than that to see
No.
that it's all played out in divine timing. You
Yes.
can't.
When you go back and look, you see, oh, this is what it said. This is what happened.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
And it really helps you connect the dots with your daily life on what's going on with your life and how long it's going to be there and how to get through it. I mean, it really
How do
does
you
help.
work through it? Anytime you're struggling with a planet and you're wondering how to work through it, work with its opposing planet. So
Mhm.
say you're a
Okay.
Cancer and you're too emotional and you're crying all the time and you're sick of crying, you're just sick of it, right? Go to Capricorn and pick up his attributes to help you level out.
I've never heard that before. How clever is that?
And it wasn't me, but that is clever.
I never heard that, but that makes absolute sense.
And it's the whole chart always working together. It's always working, and like I said, all that divine energy is coming through those attractors in the galactic center, and it's been doing that since the beginning of time, or the beginning of our solar, our Milky Way galaxy.
Mhm.
But in those attractors, there's billions of galaxies, so we're not the only ones feeling this. It's leveling up the entire
Universe.
multiverse,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
multiverse. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
deep. It is so deep, and you come down and you look at us. Well, here's Earth, or the solar system, and we're just barely a dot. You can't even see it, right? And it seems like, oh wow, we're so insignificant, but we're not, because everything is
One.
a part of the divine, right?
Because we're all one.
Yeah.
We're all part of everything. Yeah.
And the people
Tracy
that
says her Capricorn keeps her grounded. Mine
Mhm.
too. I have a Capricorn moon. And
I've even had people mention that the only thing that saves me from being a complete airhead is my Capricorn.
Yeah, I know
grounds you.
because it can be challenging. I tell you, I was last couple months, like the information's coming in so fast that I can't even articulate it right. I have to take my time, do little
Mhm.
meditation before I do everything. I did a show the other night with Diana. We were gonna say all
I
this,
watched
but
it.
I listened to it and I'm like, what were you talking about? Like I was like, you were just, because my mind was going so fast, I didn't focus enough, or I feel like I didn't. But see, there's
No,
that.
your show was great. I watched it. I learned a lot in that show. I thought it was really good. I didn't think you were out of whack.
Diana's
Sometimes I just
awesome.
think ourselves, we think it and nobody else can see it.
And well, it's that Black Moon Lilith, right? At that degree of saying,
Yes.
You don't know what you're doing. What are you doing?
You're not good enough. You're not. You don't know what you're doing. Yeah.
So you just got to.
Black Moon Lilith, does she have anything to do with our monkey minds? Because that's what it sounds like, ego.
She is a goddess, and she's a point in space on the moon, right? So she's not even a planet or anything, but she's she's a point, energetic point. And
so she's not even an asteroid?
No, but there is a white moon Lilith. There is an asteroid Lilith, but the one we're talking about, but she is, because of the emotional connection with the moon, why it hits you so hard. But her role really is to be a goddess, a warrior, to help you stand up, keep going, despite all these things that come up. You know, she, like everything, it has a higher vibrational aspect to it, or in a lower. So she'd be your friend if you know how to look at her, you know. But a lot of people, like, before I knew astrology, I used to just think it was me. I was crazy. My mind was going, and, you know, I didn't know it. Then when I saw in my chart where my Mercury is, where my Venus is, where everything is, I understood myself so much better. That's why I can't say it enough. Get to know your chart. Get to know. I think I'm gonna go in that direction with my channel, like basics of astrology, like start slow, you know, and help people to get it and get those the foundation of it. And then once you know, okay, what this chart basically means, then we can put it all together, you know. I do have
a lot of sense.
I think that's a great thing to do.
And a lot of people need that.
Yeah, because
a lot of us do.
That people are
maybe you not so much. You have so much experience, but
yeah, but even I could use it.
Yeah. Gina says it'll be brilliant. I agree.
Aw, thank you, Gina. And I don't want to make it long and drawn out. So I think I'm just quick ones, you know. So it's like here's the information. Diane and I we did a basics of astrology class for one of our practice groups a couple of years ago. And that's a good one. I might post it up just to have that there as a reference, because it gives you the directions, you know, the modalities, the elements, everything, that kind of stuff. The basics of the chart. I'm going to put it up there.
Starfish says, Valerie, you explain things and make it so we can understand. So relatable. I agree, Starfish. That's why we've invited her on every month.
Exactly.
Because she tells it how I can understand it. So hopefully everybody else can.
I love you, Jenny. I mean, I remember learning it and hearing all these words and all these numbers and aspects and looking at the geometry, and I'm like, and I had to go into it and, okay, what does this mean? And then break it down for myself just to understand. You know, a lot of astrologers, they just do that old school, but like everything else, astrology is leveling up too.
Sure,
it's growing, right? It's like when I started out taking astrology. When I started studying, they were more concerned with, did you get the numbers right? So that, did you place everything right? Did the numbers work right? You know, and there was so much
before computer.
That's
Wow.
Really, you had a hard time getting computer programs, so you had to know how to do that. But there was so much emphasis on the math and how you place things. You really didn't learn that much about what does this mean.
Right.
So this is much, much better.
Yeah. I mean, thank God for computers, because I couldn't draw a chart, I don't think, just with the ephemeris. Isn't that how it?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's just brilliant, right? It's like, how the heck do you know where that is? And in each time zone's different, right? So you have to get into it. It's just fascinating to me. But computers made it easy for me.
Yeah.
The computers make a whole lot of sense. But, you know, even with the computers, I won't let go of my ephemerises.
No.
They're like Bibles.
It
you
is a
know?
Bible. It's the Bible of astrology, and they're massive. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, but that's a cool thing. It's a cool thing that everybody's going to learn that, because let's go way back to the beginning of mankind, Egypt, and there, right?
Right.
They were looking at the stars all the time, tracking things, knowing when to plant, when to harvest,
Mhm.
when the rivers would fill up. Just everything was off of those stars, and they
Even in America, we use the
Farmer's
Farmer's
Almanac.
Almanac, which was doing the same thing.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So to me, it's the way you teach it. It's more like, what did this mean?
mm,
Instead of all the numbers, and that is so much more effective, and people can see that, yes, astrology is not a ho hum thing.
right.
It's something
A
that's
woo woo
real.
thing.
It's not a woo woo thing. It's real.
It's science.
It
Yeah.
is. It
And
is
it's
a
been
science.
used forever. Amen, Tracy. You're right.
That's right. It is, and that's going to become more uh, of the norm,
It
right?
will.
People aren't.
And needed.
Yeah,
Everybody is going to. It's going to be a basic thing they teach at school.
yeah.
Astronomy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, think about
Wouldn't that
that.
be fabulous?
that would
That's a
be
school
It,
course.
it,
First grade, you're learning about astrology.
the first 6 years of school. You're learning about the astrological charts.
and learning that, and that's how
Exactly.
you learn math. I mean,
Yeah.
it was the
Yeah.
best way to, because it'll show you when you
Mhm.
show me algebra problems and there's no reference to that.
Yeah.
You lost me. But when I'm looking for a certain thing, I can figure that out. But could you imagine all the children learning their chart and
I
knowing
know.
who they are? Because your chart is your divine blueprint
Hmm.
for the rest of
Right.
your life, right?
That's
And
right.
depending on where the planets are transiting, and I'm always looking, where's this? Well, I know where everything is, but even this, each new moon, full moon, everything changes, so,
Absolutely.
and that can alignment yesterday, all that is significant in our charts.
Hmm.
And if you it just gives you that knowing yourself, that that's and that's to me what they didn't want us to do, was to know
Know
ourselves.
ourselves.
Exactly.
No, you don't want to know yourself. You're supposed to pay attention to the outside only.
Yeah.
Don't look at
Whatever I
you. Don't
say,
ask
that's what you
questions.
listen to. What I say.
Mhm. And
I
that
love
is,
that. 20 years of Pluto in Aquarius, astrology will be a thing. I love
yeah,
that.
I will hope so.
Let's hope so. Well,
it
is
will.
there okay, wait a minute.
Do you want to go into the solstice?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
All right,
What do
we
we
got
need to
some.
know most important about the solstice? This
Well,
particular
okay, so we're
solstice.
we're honoring the sun and all life and all it does, right? And it's one of the 8 pagan holidays, or one of the 8 traditional holidays that Christianity kind of took over here and there, right?
Hmm.
Points of it. So it's Litha is technically is the pagan name
Right.
for the summer solstice. And it is again all about that, even though it starts at the first degree of Cancer, the 0 degree. It is all about connecting to our hearts, uh, remembering who we were. Why am I saying? Oh, this year when we go to that 0 degree Cancer, we're gonna have. I'm not sure the moon. The moon will be in Leo. I'm not sure the degree. Um, did you see the thing about Greenwich time, where the solstice starts? I think it was Pam Gregory had a guest on, where the dragon lines, the ley lines, are coming alive, right? And they're gonna something majors. Well, they're always moving. Energy moves through the planet Earth through the ley lines, right? A lot of cultures called them dragon lines, and they're getting
Yes.
wider.
And
They're,
they go straight during the solstices. Is that what it is?
that's what
They
I've heard.
actually straighten out
Yeah.
and
So
and vibrate. I believe I saw that.
I don't know if that is actually true, but they're everywhere, right? They're all underneath us. So
Mhm.
I'm going to go with they're getting wider
Yes.
to allow more energy into Mother Earth through her body, right? So
Maybe that was Nancy Jean talking about it.
yeah, that was a good video. Nancy Jean's video on that, and
Uh-huh.
Pam Gregory's, that was really good, both of them. And so at 3:33 Greenwich time, which would be 10:33 Eastern Standard Time, 7:33 Pacific, they're suggesting you go outside and just stand there, ground, honor Mother Earth, help,
Right.
because that energy is going to be really powerful at that specific moment in time. Now it's going to peak, right? But it's always going to be there. But I didn't really fully understand it as much, but the way they were talking, because I meant to listen to that one again. I mean, I have to watch this stuff or
I know,
research
a couple
stuff
of
over.
times to get it.
Yeah, it's so much information.
Yeah.
So on the summer solstice, it's abundance, growth, celebration, joy, nature, energy, power, light, renewal, beauty, creativity, vitality, warmth, power, and authenticity. So you want to do that connection sometime during that day. Go out there and honor the sun. Thank you at least. Go out and see how everything in nature is really starting to grow. We're going to harvest in September, October, but everything's growing now, right? And it's
Right.
getting its life force from the sun. And there was all kinds of cute. I was watching little ceremony things you can do. You can go pick the certain herbs and stuff that are alive right now and make bundles. You can make wreaths for your head or wreaths for your door.
I have mangoes out the kazoo right now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, they're absolutely delicious.
and they're the color of the sun.
They are. The ones I
Yes.
have are actually
The
yellow
yellow
like the
ones,
sun.
yes.
They come in different colors, but the
Uh-huh.
ones that I have are yellow. And yeah, oh my God, they are so good homegrown.
Oh,
You have no idea. I just eat them with a spoon. Cut
yeah,
them in half and eat it with a spoon. It's so delicious.
and it's all that that vitality in the fruit. In
Mhm.
the What do I have? I brought a little tangerine, right? So anything that is from the garden. I can't wait to where we don't use pesticides anymore, but I don't know when that's going to. and this is a green man, right? So
Oh, I
this,
love the green man.
yeah. So this is symbolization. You can see a green man face in any tree, any bush, and kind of just meditate on that. The growth around you.
Hmm.
I wonder if it would discourage our friendly animals.
Well, we have iguanas that like to eat our
Everything.
everything, but new growth, new buds, all of that. They're
The fruit.
It's so
terrible
sad.
pests.
And I don't mind sharing with nature, but it's like I will even. In the
Please
past,
don't wipe it out.
yeah, I've made spots. I've made you your own
We
garden.
do.
I've given you your own food when they still come over and eat yours.
Hmm.
I don't know how to stop that. Oh, I just heard in my head. This is weird. Okay, so it is the day to honor the fairies, right? So and the elementals and the dragons and everybody, right?
Oh,
You put those little fairy doors out, but you ask the fairies to help you with the iguanas.
we have.
We have,
Oh,
We have an entire fairy village in the garden.
I know you do it.
and,
It's
and
so
they work hard on the mosquitoes and the iguanas.
Hmm.
that's awesome.
But the iguanas are there are just so many people around us that have them in their yard, and they lay eggs and they multiply quick, and they're not indigenous to this area, so they have no natural predators.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
I didn't know that they
yeah,
weren't.
they're not
They're the
indigenous.
top of the line
Yeah,
Yeah.
to the point where the city says you may get rid of them.
yeah, you can actually shoot them.
Oh, good.
Not that I do, but
I know. It's like I can't do that. As much as I have a little rat out back that just keeps running through my garden, and she's pretty chunky. I think she's pregnant. And I'm like, oh, asking the fairies, can you find her a new home? I don't want to trap
Aries, please find the iguanas a new home.
Yeah, I keep them there.
Yeah.
So, and then I got I got sunstone. That's a good stone to work
Oh
with.
yeah.
Of course, quartz crystal. I've been adventuring. We got
Sweet.
citrine. You know, like you could just do a little, because this also is a good night once the sun does go down to do a little fire ceremony or have a candle burning all day to honor it.
I never thought about releasing the iguanas in my fire ceremony. I think I will do that tonight.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's good. And here's another little sunstone. Sunstone is very powerful, especially to get you on your path. I mean, They really bring in the creativity, but they also bring in the energy and the power to go do stuff, right? I think this is orange calcite.
Yeah.
So, I mean, any of these colors, carnelian, you could do so many different things, right, to bring that in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so pick wild flowers to decorate your altar if you do the altar, or at least have a candle burning all day. I'm also going to do the cinnamon, blowing the cinnamon in the front door again, because that's an abundance, prosperity. But name the things you want abundance of. I want abundance of,
all
love,
good things.
kindness, all
good things.
All good things.
Everything good.
And you just blow it in, and you talk to Mother, Father, God, and then blow it in your front door. But I'm going to do that one on that day. I'm going to be outside. I'm going to try to hang out if it's not too hot. It's already getting so hot.
We were 92 yesterday, but it felt like 104.
And unfortunately, I was reading because they were saying this is the first day of summer with the solstice, but it's not going to be our warmest days. We have a few much hotter days coming. I'm like, great.
Yeah, thrilled to death with that one.
Yep.
Our weather here right now is what it normally is in September and August and September.
Well,
yeah,
really
it says
hot.
right now 90 degrees, feels like 103.
Oh my goodness.
I know, crazy, isn't it?
Everything is just off the charts hot.
I'm trying to
it's
see.
Not global warming, is it?
No, of course it couldn't be global warming.
No, it's not.
Well, there's that word warming in it.
Sag. Okay, because Sag is a fire sign, right? And we have the Mars and Venus in Leo. Plus, we have Black Moon Lilith in Palestina. And Aries is a fire sign with Chiron in there.
Wow.
Okay, so but that one in Sagittarius, that where the galactic center comes in, right? I did hear, and I can't remember why they said it, that it would be, you know how I think last couple of years we had flooding. This is going to be more heat and fires, and we see that already.
That makes sense.
And I don't know if that was the reason, but we can always call in the fairies, ask for rain, ask for any blessing that you need in your area or in your home. It's always good to do those ceremonies every new moon, full moon. And I think I said this the other night on my channel was, you used to plant your seeds for the new moon and release during the full moon. But because of how enormous these energies are, I'm going to do the releasing and burn that paper, and then I write down my intentions, and I just do that on both moons.
I do too. I do them on new moons and full moons, because I just feel like I have to release to receive.
Yeah, and it's true, you do.
Yeah,
And we can always make our own ceremonies for what works for us, right? So there's no hard or fast rules.
That's me communicating outside that box.
Yes, me too, girl. I'm with you right there. Oh my goodness.
Box? What box?
Where's my Uranus? My Uranus. Oh my God, how did I forget where my Uranus is? Oh, it's in Leo. I got everything sitting in Leo, but I'm Cancer Sun. So, and then Aquarius rising. But I have a lot of things in Leo. Let's see what else we know. Longest day of the year, we went through that, and because the Earth tilts towards the sun, equinox were equal. There's no.
Oh yeah, I think I actually have if I can find one of those, I'll pull it up because I do have a slide on that somewhere. This was what happened yesterday.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It's a great shot, isn't it? Whoever did that photo, thank you.
Right? I love the constellations. I have a deck of constellations that I need to pull out of my closet.
Let me see if I can find this real quick.
Litha is also a grand portal of energy just by itself. Not with everything we just talked about, the new moon. Just if it was solstice by itself, it's a grand portal of energy.
Right.
And space and opportunity, a chance to let go of fears, doubts, and insecurities. And then, after it reaches its peak, it declines, goes back, starts going little by little.
Mm-hmm.
So then we're going to come into the fall equinox. And that'll be harvest time. And we're going to have, a couple conversations about stuff by then. And we'll have more information and more of an idea on where we're going. But I just think it's amazing what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, here we got this one.
And if you think about it, we talk about it being amazing, but when we actually could see what it's happening with it, then you really know it's amazing.
Right. Look at that. I love it.
That shows you the vernal, the equinox.
Mm-hmm.
That's really not the one I wanted, though. I have a better one.
26,000 years. Yeah, and we're at these big cycles, like 20.
We are.
We're just at these points in time, and it's really hard for. I've heard, but I'm with you. I think 2012 was the start of Age of Aquarius, but we're at different, like 6,000 year cycle, 12,000, 3,000.
So does that help a little?
Oh yeah.
Nope.
That's not it. Oh well, never mind, folks.
It's cool now. I love your glass. I like. Let me see. Even though it's the equinox, it's okay. We're preparing for the fall equinox.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just important to stay in your heart. Remember, it's unity consciousness. Stay. I know I've gotten frustrated with some people. Not much, but I always have to say, people don't even realize these energies are affecting them the way they do.
I know.
Can't blame somebody for not knowing that, right? So I give grace to yourself and grace to others. Sedna is going into 0 degree Gemini. She's at 29 Taurus right now, and Sedna is an 11,000 year cycle.
And what is Sedna's influence?
Sedna is a Inuit goddess, right? It's a terrible story. She was abused like all the goddesses, right? A wizard kidnapped her, did all this weird stuff, and she called for her dad to come get her. Her dad comes to get her in a boat, and a raging storm happens because of the wizard, and he's in fear of his life, so he throws her off into the water.
Thanks, Dad.
Well, she grabs onto the boat, and he cuts off her fingers and her wrists and stuff. But this is who the Inuits say that once she went into the water, right? Because that's a transformation. It's a story about a deep transformation.
Right.
But she created all the sea life, like so the
Oh.
original mermaid. So she is, all these goddesses are in play, and to me, that's what's showing me that the divine feminine, we have all the support to bring the balance back between both of our divine masculine and the divine feminine, so we can
Yeah,
create.
they're bringing all that energy back to balance the divine masculine for sure. Not to take over, but to actually balance it.
Exactly.
Right.
Because we have to have that balance to be able to move into 5D to get rid of the duality.
Right. Exactly.
And I think, the divine feminine may have had a shot or two at being in power, and it got distorted too, I had this one really cool writing, everything is everywhere. Focus on your inner sanctuary, trust. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing that we can say. Trust the universe, trust yourself.
Right.
Balance detachment. Be courageous. Don't be judgmental, be discerning. Keep trying
I
to
think
bring
it's
yourself.
important for people to understand that there's a difference between discernment and judgment. Because discernment is knowing what is right for you and having boundaries and understanding those boundaries. And part of that is morality or maybe ethics are involved. But it's not judging that other person for who or what they are. It's just determining whether that situation or person is right for you. Right. And that doesn't make it judgment. That makes it discernment when it's right for you or not. No matter where they are, who they are, they're right in what they're doing. They're on their own path.
Right.
It's whether that path it connects with you or not. And that's discernment rather than judgment. And that's a biggie, because even when you're discerning, you're thinking, now, am I being judgy about this?
Yeah, I struggled with that for a long time, and I still do. It's not like because it's such a fine line, right?
It can be a very fine line.
And you're doing that discernment for your own personal boundaries, right? So you can feel safe in your energy field.
That's right.
If you get a bad vibe from somebody, you do, and that's just that's your clue, because that's how our body.
But it's not right for you,
right?
And that's discernment. That's not judgment. Right. Judgment's when you're terrible, and I don't want anything to do with you.
Yes, it's true. But see, the body talks to us. It
does.
So
because we need to listen to our emotions. Our emotions are telling us what's right for us and what isn't, contrary to what everything we've been taught.
Yeah, and I think we were taught that again to disempower us, and we're here as one, and we care. We're a humanity. We're collective conscious. We're unity conscious, but it doesn't mean you sacrifice yourself.
That's right.
And a lot of people, well, not a lot, but a few people I know are doing that right now and not understanding, and they keep hitting that wall, and but they got to come to that on their own time. I can observe, I could be as an observer, say what I see, but that doesn't mean you have to listen to what I say either.
God knows, don't listen to me.
Nobody listens to me.
Don't listen to me.
There is that.
Your white dragon says, Priscilla, Heather's wonderful. We all love her as well as you. You silly man. We all love Heather.
Appreciate it.
Crazy. Oh my goodness.
That's not as vocal unless I really have something to say.
See, and that's good. That's one of those. Think before you speak. That's very important now too. Especially today, it's at 27 degrees, so you want to. It equals a 9, right? So that's usually a day you want to take an action. Doesn't have to be a big one. It can just be the phone call or looking something up on something that you want to create, right? Something that's means something to your heart, and you might feel like, the Black Moon Lilith is sitting there telling you you're not good enough. Override that by doing something to get yourself on your path.
Mm-hmm. People need to understand that each person has their own path to walk, unique individually, but one overall. That's beautiful, Tracy. Thank you.
Tracy is always like, they're all brilliant. All of you are brilliant, beautiful souls.
That's why we like this tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So happy to be a part of this tribe.
Yes.
Okay, it's after 4. And is there anything to wrap up that we need to know?
Well, okay, we are at a turning point. It's like think of it like a divine intersection. Okay, because we're going into the solstice, and then of course we're going to talk on the full moons, and we'll probably get together on the equinox, and we'll see where we how
it's all worked out.
Yeah. But for your individual selves, go for that dream in your heart. Really, even if it's a little tiny baby step. This is such powerful energy right now with that galactic center still in play that
we really need to dream big.
Yes, thank you.
Dream big.
The bigger dream, and you'll be surprised. Universe is there to make it all happen. Of course we have to do our part, but your first part of any creation or manifestation is thinking it, and to know that that's what your heart wants, right? And then the mind makes it happen. So yeah, these are just, it's a really cool time to be here. I had this one thing written, I don't know where it is. I guess I'm not supposed to read it. The Sabian symbols, I wanted to just touch on that because I might bring that up on the next time we're together on the full moon. So each degree means something. And there's a million, there's a lot of layers of numerology you can go down into these rabbit holes. And if you're interested, you can look up Sabian symbols, and there's,
how do you spell that?
Sabian. And there's also Chandra symbols, Chandra. But research how they came about and how it's really fascinating. And if you look at the degrees and you're like, oh my God, how we always say that you can't make this up.
Right.
With Sabian symbols, the only thing is that if it's 26 degree, you look at 27, but I usually look at both. Because you're supposed to go.
Are these astrological symbols or spiritual
symbols? These are
symbols?
from a psychic, Elsie Wheeler. That's why I was like, look it up. You'll really like the story of Elsie Wheeler and how this came to be. It's a pretty cool story, but it's deep, and it's a lot of you've got to have that belief in something different and believe that somebody, apparently she had a mental illness. Of course, this is way back 80, 100 years ago. And I can't remember who was getting that information from her, but she was so connected, really, is what it was, that she was psychic. And she was brilliant, maybe along autism is today. I'm not sure. I don't want to put that on her. But this guy asked, what these numbers mean. And every number, 0 to 29 for each sign. So it's really fascinating. And it's another layer of how to learn
information.
More details. It's pretty cool. So I wrote down the Sabian symbols. I think I'll bring them for the full moon, because that full moon in Capricorn, my goodness, that's going to be conjunct, meaning next to that Pluto in Capricorn.
Ooh.
Yes, we're going to be seeing some things unfold as usual.
We love that.
Yeah.
We love that.
But I think that's all I got, unless you have any questions.
Any questions out there in the chat? Let us know if you have any questions. I don't at this point. I've got notes all over my notes now.
I do too. I got notes everywhere. It's unreal. Thank you for that, Jenny. It is all about trust right now. Honestly,
It
trust.
is, and that is the hardest thing to do.
Yep.
Y'all are so beautiful.
Thanks,
Everybody's
guys, for
is.
being here today. What do you have up next, girl?
Oh my goodness. I'm on Linda G tomorrow at.
Cool.
You're on Linda G's tomorrow? Far
Yeah,
out.
3 p.m. I know. I'm like I don't know. It's like I'm numb. Like, is this real? But
Good for
we are
you.
going to talk about self-love and acceptance and the importance of really connecting to your heart, really getting into that trust vibe and trusting the universe. So, because the more we understand that, yes, we're unconditional love, and we need discernment, and we need to accept ourselves. It's layered.
Mhm.
But instead of having fear drive people, because a lot of people, I know she does a lot of the political stuff, but there's a lot of fear involved in that, because if you're constantly watching those things, it's bringing your energy vibration down.
Mhm.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I get angry about it too. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm above it, but I try not to focus on things too long that I know hurt my heart, hurt my soul.
Yes, me too.
And it's hard because we live in this world and everybody says, well, get in reality and deal with reality. But see,
Sometimes I just have to say that's not my reality because I don't
exactly.
believe in war and fear and all and greed. So I just remove it from my reality.
Yeah,
That's how I feel about it.
I'm sorry
Just
about
don't
my
I
dogs.
don't I know what's going on out there. I read. I can see what's going on, but that doesn't mean I got to bring it home.
Right.
And I don't want to bring it home. It's like leaving your job. It's your job. Don't bring it home with you. Well, you don't need to bring this home to your heart either.
And isn't that the problem though? Because we were not taught that. We were taught to care for others, do for others, go work. If they want you overtime, you stay, you do, you just keep pounding away. And this is a whole new way of
Thinking.
being, right?
It
And
is.
and we have to, this is why the releasing is so important, because we have to release all that brainwashing and all that
And
uh,
God knows we have a ton of brainwashing to release.
right. and
And if
and
you're watching TV, you get it every day. Every minute you got that TV on, you're getting brainwashed
yeah, I get
one
rid of
way or
that.
the other.
Well, and the television tells you, tell lies to your vision. It tells you right in the word.
That's true, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's like people don't want to hear it. They're addicted, and then you can't. It's not for me to say what anyone should do with their time,
No.
but if it's going to upset you so bad that you can't relax inside of yourself and drop into your heart and see that there is possibly a whole better world for all of us if you would just believe that.
Because it's what we believe is what makes our reality. And that.
You know.
Anyway,
Oh, and
what
then
time is your show tomorrow with Linda?
that's at 3
Eastern or?
uh 3 Eastern. Yeah.
Okay.
And then on my calendar. I don't have my calendar. I'm with Allie on the Solstice at 1 p.m.
Great.
Yeah. And then I don't have anything else, I don't think. I have a lot. I have practice and stuff. I have a lot of other stuff going on. Some charts to read this week.
Yeah, you've got 2 practices a week, and you do charts, and you do your own. Don't you have a day that you do your own channel? Because you're always posting these wonderful things on your channel.
I try to keep the community page going, but I am going to get focus in, hone in more on astrology bites. In fact, I might call it that. I kind of like that.
Right.
I love it. I think that's a great idea.
I forget what I'm doing. But this way, I'm seeing food being brought in. it's funny how your mind works with spirit, when you get your own, your own stuff. But yeah, I'm going to get more into that. And I was waiting. I literally was waiting until after that full moon in Scorpio, that eclipse, because I knew we were going to get a lot of information from that equinox to that point. And it still, it felt, a lot of things were in Taurus, so kind of was moving slow, but time is moving.
Yeah, but I've been getting downloads out the kazoo since the full moon. Continuous.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, and we should have those nudges. We should know what the spirit has been giving us information about on how to move forward on our own personal paths.
Right.
So we can all get together, once we are all together collectively as humanity and everyone doing their thing. I mean, wow, can you?
Look at Tracy's.
That's funny.
Oh,
I just got off the phone with my son that is bringing supper over. So bringing food in. I love it. That's brilliant.
And that's how spirit works. It's so.
It is.
It's constantly like that, and it's so beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Well,
everybody, thank you for being here. And Perrette, hi. We didn't get a chance to say hi to Perrette and Gina M. Appreciate everyone being here today. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend.
And thank you so much for your contributions.
Oh my God, I just love it when you come explain things to us, Valerie. It just makes things so much easier to understand.
I love doing it. I feel that that's the most important thing, understanding what these energies are, to go through and to connect them, with everything, because everything's connected, right? So it's so important. But anytime, I would love to come on. I love being here with you. Thank you.
Yeah, we love it too. We'll say goodbye to everybody today. Thanks for being here. Please like and subscribe. Sorry, did I beat you to it?
No, what I was going to say is don't forget to shine your love out everywhere.
Yeah, go out there and shine your light.
Including yourself.
Love, and definitely spend some time on me, especially during this particular time. There's a lot of things we can do to.
There's a lot of questioning going on. So
yeah,
we cut yourself some slack.
Yeah. Love yourself. And we'll see you next time. We'll be back on Tuesday at 3. I can't remember what the show is, but we'll be here anyway. So we'll hopefully see you guys at 3 p.m. on Tuesday. And until then, we love you all. Take care. Valerie, thank you so much as usual. We love you.
Love you too. Thank you.